It became an idol. You know, it was my identity. I was the dream guy. And I was like, I'm literally broke. And this was rock bottom. And my marriage ended like 2 weeks before that. I genuinely thought like, well, that's it. God's never going to use the divorce guy.
Ha!
I'm done.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's done with me now. That's
Hi, I'm Lizzie Oakes, and welcome to Finding the Light. This week, we're catching up with Fraser Grut. Now, I first met Fraser around 5 years ago when I interviewed him about his project, 10,000 Dreams. In 10,000 Dreams, Fraser simply asks people the question, what's your dream? A big project because the aim of it that he would capture a different dream each day until his 50th birthday. Now, Fraser's just in his 20s, and I know since we last caught up, he's been through some hard times. In fact, in his own words, he said by the end of 2019, he'd hit rock bottom, including his marriage ending. I'm really interested to speak with Fraser today because he's a young guy with a whole lot of get up and go and an open heart who's been through a hard time. He's willing to talk about it, but he's also encountered the light of God's love. And through letting go of one dream, he's embraced another. We met a few years ago and I interviewed you about 10,000 Dreams, but where did that idea for 10,000 Dreams come from?
all right. So it was 2016 and I was meeting up with a mate, Logan, who was about to go to America for 6 months. And at some point in the coffee, I said, yo, dude, when you're in America, you should do something every single day. And we kind of spitballed a bit. And then we're like, why don't you ask someone every day what their favorite ice cream flavor is? And about 10 seconds later, we're like, that's so lame. And then it became, oh, why don't you ask someone what their why is? But then Rebel Sport had just done a What's Your Why campaign. So we knew we couldn't do that. And I was like, why don't you ask someone what their dream in life is every single day? And he kind of was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, all right, actually, I'll do that. And then we kind of made some kind of bet and I said, I'll do it every day for 1 year. And I was meeting Art Green the next day for another shoot. So I was like...
That was The Bachelor, right?
The Bachelor, yes. And I was like, bro, can you be day one? And yeah, so it was only meant to be 1 year and it was just a bet. There was no purpose, no God calling behind it. It was about 200 and something days in and I was trying to get Jacinda Ardern's dream. This was pre-Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern.
Okay.
This was during the campaign. And I went to a team and I said, look, I'm doing this thing for 1 year. I've got like 100 days left. And they passed on it. So then I went back one night and I was like, hey, I'm doing it for 10,000 days. I basically just sent one of those crazy emails to get their attention.
Okay.
I had no intent of doing it. And I had no idea how long 10,000 days was. And I said, I'm doing this thing for 10,000 days. It's called 10,000 Dreams. Just try to stand out. And they came back going, okay. We'll do it next week.
Wow.
And I filmed a dream and went, okay, and changed it to 10,000 Dreams on Instagram and told my wife at the time, I'm doing it for 10,000 days now. We looked at how long that was and it turned out to be 27 and a half years. All right, I've changed the name now on Instagram.
Yeah, so it was just a whim, really. It was like, I'm trying to get somebody's attention.
Yes,
this will work.
It was all banter until it wasn't.
Did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it became a life mission.
Right.
But I mean, now looking back, it's been 7 years and I've done nearly 1,900 dreams. 2 weeks ago, I did Ashton Kutcher and, you know, I'm doing Mila Kunis soon. And now stuff like that's happening. You're kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. Basically, I signed up for 27 and a half years of doing this every single day.
It's about the same length as Nelson Mandela's prison term.
I know, I think of that often. Actually, this was my own prison sentence.
Yeah.
And I put this on myself too. No one else was telling me I had to do this. No, it was probably ego, let's be honest. I bought into, oh my gosh, you're crazy. Everyone said you're crazy. And I loved that. I was like, yeah, I'm crazy. But I was married at the time.
Yeah.
And I started 10,000 Dreams the week or two before we got married.
Okay.
So it wasn't like she signed up for this.
No.
And it totally took over our life. It was, and when I say it's every day, it wasn't just 10 minutes of this filming and posting every day. It was, drive to meet someone, film someone,
Every
spend an
day.
hour with them, come home, edit for an hour, post. Then it's also sending, I used to do a thing where I had 2 cups, one full of paper clips, 100 paper clips. And every day I would send an email, put a paper clip in, send an email, put another one, until I sent 100 cold emails every single day. And I ran a film company at the same time. And
Would you say you were obsessed?
Yes, absolutely. It became an idol. It was my identity. I was the dream guy. That's how everyone knew me.
Yeah, because you had heaps of coverage, right? You were on lots of TV and radio and papers.
My film business was definitely not doing that well at the point too, because I guess doing so much dreams actually took away my focus from building up a company. So it was quite messy. And I remember going to film the dream of James Morrison, the singer who did Broken Strings. And it was at the town hall in September 2019. And I went to drive to the town hall, and I went into the Civic car park, and my credit card declined because I couldn't afford the car park. That's how low things got. So I had to park 2 Ks away in Mount Eden, 2 or 3 Ks away in Mount Eden, because it was the only free parking.
Yeah.
And there was a storm that day, and I had to run with my camera gear in a storm to the town hall and filmed this dream, went back home and just broke down to my parents. And I was like, I'm literally broke.
Yeah.
And this was rock bottom, and my marriage ended like 2 weeks before that. And it was just, it's surreal, and also being a Christian, divorce is kind of like the D word.
Yeah.
How do you walk into church on a Sunday morning knowing everyone's looking at you? We had dated since we were like 12 and 13. So it was one of those, you'll get married, that growing up, everyone kind of
that's heavy.
handle going through that. I started partying a lot and stuff I never really did ever as a teenager. Like I was quite a good, good Christian kid. And then, suddenly going to town every weekend and going to church hungover, but I was a youth leader, and just total loss of identity. And I had no idea who I was anymore. But yet I was doing a dream every single day with a big smile.
What a contradiction, right?
Absolutely. I had no idea what my dream was at that point. I was just totally broken. And I genuinely thought like, well, that's it. God's never going to use the divorce guy. I'm done.
Yeah.
That's it. He's done with me now. Because I was stuck in that mindset, I left my church that I had been a part of since I was a baby because I felt judged, but I don't think everyone was judging me.
No.
I felt like everyone was judging me.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's about us, actually.
Yes, and I left and went to a total new church in the city where I knew no one, and I just rebuilt my life.
But sometimes
Friend
you need
groups,
that, right?
everything. It was a total reboot. Once I went to a new church and found a life group of young guys, all who were in a similar stage of life, mid-20s, single, it was that. Being in that group made me realize I probably wasn't as close to God as I thought I was. If I'm honest, I played the victim card for a long time. Oh my gosh, not full woe is me, but kind of I just held on to the victim mindset. I had to let go of that. Takes 2 to tango. There's so much more. There's 2 sides to every story.
Of course.
And I think it was realizing, oh my gosh, maybe I was totally idolizing my work, and my dream became an idol to me.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was the dream of being the next Peter Jackson. That was my idol. It wasn't so much that I was just idolizing 10,000 dreams.
So you were kind of like a slave to it, really, weren't you?
I was absolutely a slave to my dream. My whole life. Yeah, I hit a wall where I realized my whole life I've idolized my dream. And I haven't got to where I wanted to get because God wasn't driving. I was so scared of letting go of my dream because I thought if I gave it to God, he was just going to go, right, you're going to be a pastor now or a missionary.
Yeah.
And I was so scared of that because I thought there's no way if I give it to God, he'll go, sweet, we're going to Hollywood. I felt in that moment that there were a number of things God was telling me. One, the story in the Bible of the rich ruler in Jesus, when Jesus said, give up everything and follow me, and the rich ruler went. That was hitting me hard, of that letting go. Abraham and Isaac. Then for some reason, VeggieTales, the founder of VeggieTales, his book I'd read recently before that and inspired me so much around how dreams become idols. We brought a zoo the line in We Brought a Zoo, the Matt Damon film, that says all you need is 30 seconds of courage. Oh, and Bob Goff, famous Christian author Bob Goff, his book, he had a book called Dream Big that I just read, and that too was kind of, so these 5 things in this period were like sticking out to me. And I hit a wall one day and I said, I'm taking the day off and I'm gonna just find out where the heck I'm going. And I stumbled across a book called All In by Mark Batterson, a Christian book, and it's in the corner over there. And I read this book because it was all about how to be all in for God. And that was the theme of this. Why am I so scared to be all in? And I swear not. I'm not kidding. In the first 82 pages of this book, there was a chapter on the rich young ruler in Jesus, VeggieTales, Bob Goff, who was his mentor, We Brought a Zoo, about the 30 seconds of courage line, and Abraham and Isaac.
Wow.
In the first 82 pages.
So everything God had been talking to you about.
Everything. And I was shocked.
Was in this book.
I'm not even lying. The book's right there. I can show you after.
That's a setup.
And I was like, all right, God's speaking to me.
Yeah.
So what I did in that moment, I created a contract with God. I got a legit contract. And I called up my best friend, Cam, and I said, I need you to be a witness of this contract because I'm signing this and I'm signing over my dreams to God. Wow, and I'm going, I'm all powerful. In. I'm done chasing my dreams.
What did that feel like?
It was liberating. I was so excited because I knew God was speaking to me through this book. And I was like, bro, we're meeting up right now. We're going to get this thing printed. You're going to sign it as a witness. And I signed it all over to God saying like, I'm all in. It's called the all in contract. And that was February 2021. And a month later, exactly a month later, I was at home and I got an email from the general manager of the Wiggles. And I'd met them a couple of years earlier because I filmed their dreams, and I kind of became friends with the Wiggles. And I got an email from him saying, are you free on Sunday to come down to Christchurch to film a music video with the Wiggles and Richie McCaw? So I went to Christchurch, spent the day with Richie McCaw and the Wiggles, filmed a music video with them. It was an amazing experience. The next day I was editing this video with my editor, Sash, at home. And we watched it back. It was like a 2-minute video. And I said to him, I was like, bro, it looks like a trailer for a Wiggles documentary because it was like real grungy. And then I was like, you reckon there's been a Wiggles documentary? So I got Google up and I wrote Wiggles doco. Oh, there'd never been a Wiggles documentary. I was like, I'll email Anthony, who's the Blue Wiggle and the founder of the Wiggles. So I sent him an email and went, bro, can I make a doco on you guys? And I did a little bit of a speech. And the next day, it was my birthday, my 27th birthday. And I got an email from Anthony saying, we've been trying to do this for a number of years and we've never found the right people. But if you do it, we'll make it happen.
Wow. It
was an incredible birthday message. And yeah, basically a doco was done. That was it. And that's been the last 2.5 years of my life, being a producer and an associate director on a Wiggles documentary that was bought by Amazon last year and will be released later this year. I know in my gut all that happened because of that all-in contract. And God was going, just trust me, I have a bigger plan for your life. And I feel like the theme now of my life is God's dreams are bigger than your dreams. But it took me 27 years to let go of my dreams.
We don't like that word in culture, submitting to God, but, it is the most powerful thing. You let go. And so, it can be really painful letting go of dreams too.
Absolutely.
And it's very scary.
It's like a death.
It is a death. But I mean, I've had that in my life a number of times, like you're creative and, had to let go of things. And it has actually been absolutely agonising. And yet, trusting God, and then he brings along something new and something wonderful. Better than you can imagine, right?
Oh, it blew my mind. In such a weird way, I found healing. I was filming Ashton Kutcher's dream 2 weeks ago. And we were chatting and he had an unbelievable dream. And I started sharing my story with him around how my dream was to be the next Peter Jackson. And it actually became an idol in my life. And I'd be lying if I said when I did that all-in contract, it was definitely still there deep down, that dream. There's no way I'd killed that dream. It was still like, I want to be Peter Jackson. And I said that to Ashton Kutcher, and he said, you will only ever be the second best Peter Jackson, but you could be the best Fraser on the planet. And it was like I found healing in that moment, and that 29 years of, idolizing that dream in that moment was like, he's absolutely right. God's called me to be Fraser, not the next Peter Jackson.
Yeah, that's healing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you didn't just have that healing.
Yes.
You got remarried.
I got remarried 6 months ago tomorrow. She's just incredible. We got set up on a blind date in 2021, and an hour after meeting her, I was with my best friend who was also at that blind date. It was like a group blind date kind of thing. And he filmed me on his iPhone talking to camera saying, this video is going to play at our wedding one day, and then I'm going to marry Jade. And I just knew.
Right after you'd met her? Just
met her. And I just knew. And then that video played at our wedding last year. And yeah.
Did she know about that video?
No, she had no idea.
And so she saw it on her wedding day?
Yeah.
How cute is that?
I just 100% knew. I couldn't explain it. There was just God's peace in it.
That's a good lesson for someone to hear. You meet someone and you feel a sense of peace, right?
Yes.
Not trying to make it happen?
I didn't have to force it to happen. And that's the same thing with dreams.
Okay.
I feel like the dreams that aren't God ordained are the ones that you keep pushing. I'll make it, and you're not listening to people around you, and you're almost stubborn about it. And the ones that kind of seem to just happen, and it's just God's timing, are the ones where
the doors will open.
You almost don't do it. It's
you
all
walk through.
Like the Wiggles doco. It just happened when I got an email, and suddenly this doco just unfolded, and it was just like, wait, this is too easy. After starting that documentary, I got to the end of 2021. I'd done nearly 1,800 dreams. I'd done it every day for 5 years. And it was a couple of weeks before the 5-year mark. And I was so burnt out on this thing. And I called it. I'm done with 10,000 dreams. I actually told everyone I was taking a sabbatical because I didn't want to fully commit.
Yeah.
But that sabbatical turned into a year and a half of, I was convinced I was never going to pick this thing up again until I did Lent this year. And on day 1 of Lent, I woke up and felt God said, you have to do 10,000 dreams again. And then I spent the next 40 days of Lent saying no to God. Absolutely not. There is no way I'm doing this again. I am so over this. That's in the past. I'm not going back to that.
I don't want to be a slave.
And in that 40 days, multiple people that I respect, pastors, mentors, all of them were like, I was just thinking like this week, I wondered if you should pick up 10,000 dreams again. Like, I'm not even kidding you, like multiple people. And it became so evident, this has to be picked up again, that God has to be the center of this. This ain't the Fraser show anymore. No. This is a God thing. This is his calling on my life. And I felt like when I wasn't doing 10,000 dreams, there was such a part of me missing. I'd lost something. I lost my spark. It's not every day anymore. It's a lifetime goal of 10,000.
Okay.
Absolutely not every day. That was the problem in the first place. It's what I'm meant to do. It's so different this time.
Isn't that amazing? Because sometimes, when you do get burnt out on something and you just end up hating it, and you think that's just the end.
Yeah.
And how wonderful for God to actually, there's like a rebirth, and it just takes its place. It's not the idol anymore. It's something that you do. It's something you love, and it's a passion.
Joy. It's an absolute joy, and I'm more present now because I never really realized it's such a big thing for people to share their dream with me. Like, it's not an easy, what's your favorite color?
Very personal.
And I was just taking that for granted because I wanted to tick a box. Cool, thanks, sweet, today done. And now I might know, be present, talk. If someone wants to chat for an hour afterwards because they've never shared this before, listen, be present, help people. Hey, what can I do to help you?
So you've kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, I've just be in the moment more, I've been watching, The Chosen, and just be at Jesus's pace was just walking.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go talk to this. Let's go to this part. Let's just don't be in a rush. Like, this is a joy to do, and I don't want to get to the end of this. Like, it's not about getting to 10,000 dreams. It's about the journey of getting to 10,000 dreams. And before, it was about getting to 10,000 dreams because, man, what a party that's going to be. I'm going to be the coolest guy in the room. I did 10,000 days in a row. I'm crazy. And now it's like, nah, it's not about getting to that end point. almost don't want to get there because it's such a part of my life. I kind of just want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
You know?
Would you say you're a happier person now?
Way more peaceful.
Content?
Yes. More aware of myself.
Still chasing those dreams, and yet being able to doing it out of a more balanced place.
Absolutely. I love the journey. I'm not setting unrealistic goals anymore of I have to win an Oscar at 23. I have to do this by 30. I'm just, God's got this.
The hardest things that we go through are the things that we learn the most, right? And I mean, to conquer your ego is a good thing. Some people never learn that.
Like we're not puppets on a string. Like God gives us freedom to pursue our passions. And as long as it's something that glorifies Him and you're excited about it, you're passionate about it, you feel peace. Like go hard at it. There's, I think a lot of time you think, oh, I'm a Christian. I either have to be a pastor or a missionary. Like that's kind of, it's like, no, we need Christian prime ministers. We need Christians that are the top of their game. God's dreams are bigger than your dreams. They lay down those dreams and let God, like let go and let God, that saying.
It's true though, isn't it?
And it's terrifying to do. And I would be lying if I still said I don't struggle with that,
Yeah.
But when I look back at my life and I see all the fruits, it's all God. Every time I went rogue and was like, I'm going to do that, it always led to near bankruptcy, just things blowing up, being humbled massively, honor God in the small things. And that's when I look at 10,000. But whatever it is, just honor God in the small things.
What an amazing conversation with Fraser today. I love his honesty and the fact that he's really wrapped his head and his heart around his journey. It's like he's had the death of one dream and the birth of another. And it's hard, isn't it, to give over ownership and let God take the wheel, so to speak. But God's a good dad, and it's like that scripture that talks about if you ask for bread, He's not going to give you a stone. So we can trust Him. We can hand our dreams over to Him. And today's a reminder that we've all got dreams. God's wired us all so differently. Imagine if we were all as brave and maybe as crazy as Fraser to follow our dreams, but ultimately to follow God. See you next time on Finding the Light.